So there's this project I've been working on. Throughout my 2 A-level years, I'd always have this issue that at the start of each year, every time I needed a past paper, I'd have to go to GC Guide and download it. And sometimes what I just do is I download all of them, and that would take some time, and it's very monotonous. Now, I'm a CS student and we don't like to do things by hand, so I decided to automate it. So there's this neat little project I've been working on. In fact, you know what? I might as well show it to you. And so basically, this is what we have so far. There's a lot of stuff in this code, and I don't know most of it. I don't remember what most of it does. But basically, what I do is I enter in a URL. Now, a URL of a subject. So I have to go onto GCE Guide and let's say, like, I want to study Arabic today. And so I click on it, I copy the URL, and I just paste that in. There we go. Now it's asking me which years do I want to do. So let's say I want to start from 2019. And let's download all the way up till 2021. Now it's going to ask me which components, which papers do I want to download. So let's do component 3. And there we go. It's just showing me all the files which it's okay, so it's supposed to download the files there, and it usually does, but for some reason it didn't do it this time. Doesn't matter, we have to change the code anyways, so I'm not gonna bother with this. I want a GUI because GUIs are cool, they're the next hip thing, and I want to be a cool kid. So we're going to remake this program using tkinter. And while I may not know how to make UI, I do know how to use YouTube, and luckily there is this 5.5 hour long tutorial that I'll just follow along. Probably won't go through all of it because I can't imagine doing that, but I'll go through what's relevant, and hopefully by the end of it, I'm basically, a Google level UI designer. Should be easy, I think. I mean, I'm just setting the bar low just so I'm not disappointed. But anyways, yeah, I guess I should start. Okay, so progress update. We've got a basic calculator that does calculator things. Now you can't type into the calculator. Oh, actually, wait, you can. It's just you have to click on there, and you cannot just put in symbols because that would break the calculator. But boom, boom, 57. Okay, wait. Okay, minus, okay, 3, okay, equals to 54 divided by 3, 18, and there's also a clear button, and then there's 6 times 6, 36. It works. So yeah, the calculator works. Very cool. It's like a more basic version of the Windows calculator, but it's a really good start, so I'm pretty excited. Okay, so day 2. It's been a pretty tough day with regards to certain things, like I'm not in my usual room, but I did get a lot of studying done, and I think I've picked up most of the things that I need to be able to actually make the program. The point is, I still have to make the program, and there's a bunch of things which I'll forget how to code, and I'll have to follow tutorials for that, but that's fine. That's just what programming is. But yeah, I think we're at a good pace, and hopefully I can get it done by tomorrow. Hopefully, I don't know. I also have this nice little schema that I made to just like break down the task. So firstly, I'm gonna have a screen which let the user select, oh, which subjects, so like maths or counting or physics. And then after I make the screen, I'm going to work on the script that takes in that subject and finds the years for that. So I already have that, I just have to tweak it a bit. And I'm going to go to this screen, which lets the user select all the years that they want to download the past papers from, and then there'll be like a select all option or clear all selections option as well. And then after that, or actually somewhat during that, I have to figure out how to make the back button, which will take you from this screen to this screen. And other than that, you also need to build in the download function. So that's just going to be once you've selected everything, you click download, it runs the script, and it has to show you that it's downloading so that you don't just quit out. But yeah, that's the plan. Let's see how it goes. Okay, I have something like really exciting to show you guys. Okay, so this is our code. We're currently at like 123 lines. Not really, because there's a bunch of blank lines, but anyways, let's run this code. And what's going to happen? Look, it shows you the different levels. Now, this is something I decided to add after the fact because I thought it's just easy to expand it and it'll just be much more usable. And now, when you click on a level, it takes a second, but it loads all of the subjects for that level. And then I can even search. And I'm so proud of this, by the way, because I made it, well, it's not case sensitive. And I kind of essentially made it myself without having to look up how to make a search bar. Granted, I still had to Google some things, but I was really happy about this. And then, if you're like, oh, wait, I'm not in O levels, I'm in A levels, and you can just switch here and boom. Now, this is really nice because for the past few days, I've been dreading this project because I just couldn't make time for it. But honestly, like working on it yesterday, I got a lot of stuff done and I'm pretty optimistic about it. And I have a plan now. So this is very unstructured. This code is very unstructured. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to rebuild it from scratch, bunch of copy pasting essentially. And I have like done a bunch of research here. I've made notes of how I want things to look. And yeah, this is what we'll do. But anyways, I'll get to it. Took me essentially a day and a half and around about you know 250 lines of code. But I finally transferred it, and so like it took me the whole of yesterday just transferring the thing into a more in a better format. But then after that, okay, because I got this, okay, and everything works like it used to. You can search and all. And then when you click on a subject, so this is what I spent today on. And you click here, it takes a second, and it loads this. Now it's disgusting, but it works, and that's what matters. And so here you'll just like select your subjects. For days you'll just select all. Maybe you don't want the other resources because those are pretty useless. And then you can select your folder name, and you can select, oh, do you want the folders to be divided into years as well? And then on top of that, you want components to be separate, and then you can click download. But before you click download, make sure to mention which components you want. I wanted this to just give you a list of components, but I don't know how to do that, and it's also just going to be very demanding if I try to work it out. So I just gave up, basically. And then this is where we're at. So now I just have to work in the functionality of the download button. And that shouldn't be that hard. So let's get to it. It's finally done. Look at these folders I made it myself. I use so PPD is the new version and PP Downloader is the old version which I used to use. And so now all that's left is to compile it. So let's load up CMD command line. Okay, and then I have to do pip install installer. I can't spell because I'm using one hand and that is very difficult. Okay, so now that's done. Now I actually have this other command typed out. I thought I could just type it myself, but it's just way easier to paste it in. There we go. And this is supposed to take a while, but I'm excited because this is the first time I'm compiling anything. Okay, so apparently it's done. And now I'm supposed to go here into dist, and then I click this, and it should work. Fingers crossed. There might be bugs. Oh, okay, it works. Okay, going to A levels. Let's do chemistry because why not? The search is working. It's loading up the years. The select all button works. I don't want to do too many because it just takes a while. So I'll just do these 3 years. I want to sort files so that the question paper is after the marking scheme. I want folders for the different components. I'm going to do MJ ON. And this is actually like the setting which I would recommend to people. This is what I personally find useful because if you create the folders for years, it might sound useful, but now you just have to click through more folders. which is why I don't like. I also hate this naming scheme, but that's just a personal thing. Okay. Anyways, let's download paper 2, paper 4, and let's click download, and it's supposed to hang. Now you can very easily crash the program by just spam clicking. But if you just let the program do its thing, it's actually downloading the files and is doing it as per the naming scheme, because I selected the initials one. So it's only putting the initials on the folders, and then it's breaking the components into their separate papers. And so the marks, well, maybe February, March isn't good to show, but if you go into May, June, look at this. The question paper 2-1, right underneath marking scheme 2-1. Question paper 2-2, right underneath marking scheme 2-2. Now, if you don't want that, there's the other setting, which I would say is probably not as useful, but yeah, it works. This is amazing. And look, it even downloads the other resources. There, this is the folder which is most likely to cause some bugs. So unless if it's something groundbreaking, please excuse me for like skipping out on these, because different other resources have different formats. And I don't have time to go through every single format. And there we go, we're on to the specimen papers. Now this, I will say it's done, and it sends us back here. And now I can move on to my next subject, which is nothing, because okay, wait, I might try. Okay, I don't know how to type. Oh my god, it actually worked. Like if you go here and you go into P4, it actually has the P4. The reason I did it off camera was because I saw a bug. I was very sad. Turns out it's just an occasional bug, so I'm not gonna fix it. Basically what happened was this scroll bar disappeared, but oh well. Also very interestingly, I found another issue which I'm not going to fix, but if you go into something like computing and then you look at this is not right. This is should not be like this. It should be divided into years. The file shouldn't be directly accessible. That's not my fault. They just organized it very non-uniformly, and I'm not gonna fix that. That happens for a few subjects. But overall, I'm pretty happy with what I've made. I know it's not completely robust. I know it's not perfect, but this is about as far as I'm willing to go. And honestly, I'm just really happy with the way it's turned out. But honestly, this project has been quite a roller coaster. There's been a lot of ups and downs for me. There's a lot of times where I didn't feel like working on it. There's a lot of times when progress was very stunted. I had some bugs which were just so obnoxious, and I'd sit there for like an hour and I realized, oh, I had to change this. Or sometimes it wasn't a simple bug to fix. Sometimes I had to change a bunch of things, and that was a headache in and of itself. Like transferring it, or like after I made these notes, I had to transfer my program, which was originally very unstructured but functional, into something which was structured. And transferring that was a whole process in itself, and into so many issues. I had to play around with data structures, see which ways I could make this work. And there were like times when I was making lists of things, and then there was times when I was just making lists of lists, and the data was becoming a mess. But at the end of the day, when I look at the program now, and that I see that everything's a function other than like 10 lines of code, it makes me really happy. Why? Because it looks nice. And honestly, you can see why people do it modularly instead of just jamming everything into main thing. Because when I was working on my original one, I kept having this issue in my head that, okay, I've made the code to switch from the levels page to the subjects page. But now when I'm making the code from the subjects page to the year page, I'm going to have to start from scratch. But if you modularize it, I already have half of the code, which is to unload the subject page. I could just do that because I modularized it. And despite that, this program is still 300 lines of code, 370 lines of code. Well, not 370 because there's blank lines, there's comments, but roughly 350, right? And that's the longest program I've written, I think, pretty much by far. The older version of this was 100 lines, which I don't even know how I got to 100 lines. I was expecting it to be like 50, 60. It's been a nice experience. I got to learn how to make user interface. I got to learn how much effort goes into the whole design and thinking process of it, because when I was going through this, I was like, okay, There's this other feature which I should be adding, and part of my brain was like, please don't make me do it. But I'm glad I did, because with every radio button and checkbox and even normal button that I added, I learned more. And I reached a point where writing the code was only 50% writing and 50% debugging instead of 20% writing and 80% debugging. And I'm happy about that. It's a weird goal to have, but yeah. And if anyone wants to use my program, it's going to be in the Mediafire link in the description below. Feel free to download it. It doesn't have viruses, trust me. But yeah, thank you.